So once it pressurizes, it goes through a fuel rail, which is a hose, which actually feed into each individual injectors. These are the injectors right here.
Those injectors are similar to the previous one, or?
No, they're different. The previous one was said it worked off a 5 volts reference.
Yeah.
This is actually a 55 volt circuit.
55 DC.
50 volt. Yeah, they call it the a.c.r circuit, which is the 55
yeah.
volt circuit.
And how those injectors work different like the other?
Okay, so how this works is this is actually has an electromagnetic injector. It actually controls the polarity of the injector. So there's a mapping system on the software that when it takes the air temperature, the temperature of the engine, the RPMs, and it'll calculate and tells you exactly how much fuel you need. That's why these are more fuel efficient than any of the other engines out there.
Of course, it's controlled.
It's controlled, correct. It's actually a polarity injector. They can control the polarity of it.
Oh yeah, and the troubleshoot is difficult?
It's somewhat, this one here, you can do the same system. If you have compression spark, you can disconnect it and you can find the problem that way. Or you hook up a computer and you can do the diagnostics. Now the only thing the computer won't read is if it's a mechanical failure.
Yeah.
But if it's electrical failure, it'll show up on the computer.
Guys, don't forget, 55 volts, no? It's a lot
55
of
volts.
Yeah.
And the coils also work off the 55 volts as well.
Danny, I have a question. Probably it's a ridiculous question, but how can you get 55 volts if the volt is 12 or 24?
Alright, so the 55 volts comes from the stator. There's a two-part of the stator. So basically it's like having two stators in one. And what happens is the engine actually has a capacitor, which I'll show you. But how this works is if you come here,
that's the flywheel.
That's the flywheel. As this rotates, it generates AC current.
AC power.
AC
power, correct.
And then from the AC power, it's going to the computer, which converts it into DC by using a regulator.
The rectifier is in the computer.
Correct. And then once it does that, there's a capacitor.
When the current is rectified, enter in the capacitor.
And it's stored.
And it's stored. When the capacitor is full charged, the capacitor
discharges it and sends it to the system.
Correct.
And that's how you maintain your 55 volts.
And you check this capacitor exactly the same like in other videos we checked?
Absolutely.
All right, the same procedure, we discharge the capacitor.
Absolutely. Same
all right,
procedure.
nice. What is the capacity? That capacitor is 50,000 microfarads. 50,000 microfarads are 50 volts.
Correct.
Correct. Okay, the procedure is exactly the same like we use in other episodes to check the capacitor. Normally when the capacitor is damaged is expanded.
Swells up.
Yeah.
And these, what we see a lot of is what happens is because when it's actually installed in the motor, it's upside down. Sometimes the seal go bad and it'll leak out.
It's leaking.
And you'll see when you pull the boot out, you'll see actually the oil in there.
And this is poison.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Perfect. We have 55 volts on the injectors. And yes, when we remove the plugs, we can verify with the multimeter the 55 intermittent.
Correct.
No? Depending on the signal from the computer.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect.
There's also, you can take an injector and swap it to whichever cylinder.
Yeah, yeah.
This one you can't. You actually have to program each, and there's a programming code right here.
The number of
that tells you, so the computer knows who it's talking to. That's how it controls the polarity of the injector. There's no default. There's actually a software for each individual one, so the computer knows who it's talking to.
Danny, according with this, the ground in this type of engine is critical.
Oh, it is absolutely most important.
Yeah, the most important.
Corrosion, it will absolutely cause electrical issues.
A lot of complaints related with the low pressure, intermittent pressure is because of bad ground.
Bad grounds, correct.
That's okay. It's critical.
And then as far as on the spark plugs in this, is using a champion plugs, really a bunch of traditional plugs.
How the spark plugs work together with
Yeah, so how the spark plug works, so the coil system, it gets its power once it gets it from the computer and it shoots.
In other words, this is the injector, the 55 volts, that's the injector. This is a special injector for ultra high pressure, and this is the spark plug. Danny, how the injector and the spark plug works?
So in this case, they call it the indexing. So if you look here in the line, you make a line for the open electrode. Okay. So when you install this, you have to install either, you can be 90 degrees or 90 degrees the other way, 180 degrees.
The opening in front.
Yes. If you do it this way, what happens is the spray pattern is disrupted, and what happens is it will work, but it'll foul out the plug.
Oh, incredible. And what is the symptom? Misfiring.
Misfiring.
Oh, nice. It's only because the position of the spark plug is not appropriated in front of the injector. Normally, it's like this, no, in the combustion chamber.
Correct. Yeah, you want it facing
like this. That's perfect.
The open electrode.
Oh, incredible, incredible. And in the manual is the recommendation.
Yes.
Right.
They tell you how to index it.
Perfect.